If you are an engineer working a day job, one of the most powerful things you can do working toward being an entrepreneur is to change your mindset at your current job. So rather than looking for a side hustle or something to get going on the side, if you just stay where you are and change how you're thinking and interacting at your job, you can learn a lot about how to run your own business, and you can actually start building the skills and possibly even some of the IP that you can use to go start that business when you're ready. DoorDash or something like that is not going to do anything to further your career toward being an entrepreneur in an engineering space. So it might bring in some extra cash, but it's just kind of a distraction. If you focus at your current job with the mindset of thinking of yourself as an entrepreneur, you can learn a lot of the skills that it takes to actually become that entrepreneur. For example, change the dynamics that you have with your boss, that you're communicating in ways that you would be communicating to a customer. Just in your mind, think of your boss as your customer, your manager, whoever you're directly reporting to. You're delivering a service or product to them. You can start working with them as if they are your customer, possibly a difficult customer. But your goal is to find a path to make them happy so that they continue work, that they continue the job with you, and the work continues. This is what you'll have to do when you're out in the world dealing with customers. So it's a great skill to learn. Focus on delivering what your customer wants and hearing from them what it is that they're looking for, what their desires are for going forward. And also be thinking from your point of view what you can do to kind of upsell to your boss. So instead of just taking direction from them, start moving a little bit into the role of driving that dynamic and see if you can get them to bite on some improvements or some new features that you want to add to the product in a convincing sort of way, as if you're upselling a customer that you're doing contracting work with. It's great practice to be able to get a feel for how that works and to get good at that kind of negotiating, which is exactly the kind of thing that you have to do when you're an independent contractor if you're providing services. That's if you're providing services. So one of the other things that you can do while you're at your job is be thinking of product-based offerings that you can put into the market, developing IP. In most companies, you're able to do that. In some companies, your contract may actually confer ownership of whatever you think of while you're on the job, so you need to be careful with some of those agreements. But assuming that there's no limitation on that, instead of doing DoorDash on the side, be working on product ideas. Make a list of everything that you see in the world as you're interacting, of just problems that you run into. Those problems are things that need to be solved, and solutions to problems are the start of most businesses. So grab a notebook and write down everything that you see. It doesn't have to be something complex. It might just be an add-on to some other system that exists. Don't be too critical of the list. It's a brainstorming list at first. Later on, you're going to go back and refine those as you kind of think through those ideas and vet them as possible products. These are all things that you can do while you're working at another company. This is evening activity, this is leisure time activity, but it's focused thought of seeing the world as a place ready to receive your products. And you can do that while you're still making a nice paycheck at a day job. And that process sometimes takes a while. You can't find the ideal product on any given day. Brainstorming is not a 1 hour activity. It's sort of a lifetime of activity. It's a style of looking at the world in a way that looks for those kind of opportunities. If you're interested in entrepreneurship and you're here watching this video, you probably already think that way. You probably already have a notebook with one of those lists. If you don't worry, just start one, because it's an important way to start thinking about the world so that you can meet the needs of the world where they're at with a product that you bring to them, because people buy solutions. Once you have that, now you can start thinking about the plan for rolling that out and turning that into something that can eventually stand alone, that you can leave your job to go service. But even before you do that, there's probably a lot that you can do on the side in your evenings to be working on those things, to get them out there in a test market, to be able to see how they work in the real world. One of the most valuable ways to do that is to take your idea and whittle it down to what is an MVP, a minimum viable product. What is the smallest unit of some product that you can create that could give some value to people, and then put that out there. The purpose is to get feedback. So the purpose of the minimum viable product isn't necessarily to sell that product, although if you can, that's great. But at the very least, it's a vehicle for you to get feedback on how you can improve that product and turn that into an offering that the market is interested in. These are ways that you can use your time, your spare time, and your mental energy while you're working and bringing down a nice paycheck to be paving the way for you to be able to start your own business when you're ready.